good to get back out today, get to work. Always good after a tough loss to get back on the grass and practice. It's that time of year when if you don't have things going your way, you just have to dig deep, keep playing, and that's what we're doing. And trying to do what we can this week to get a win any way we can, anything that it takes to get it done. So, take any questions you have.
Yeah, Kurt, where do you feel that coming out of that game, you got a couple things that you want to, you saw yards back up and all that. What are some of the things y'all could do, you and your unit heading into the Raiders game?
Yes, I think it's coming out of that game, you certainly think about the 2 turnovers, the 2 interceptions, looming large, not getting the touchdown at the end of half, having to kick a field goal, and then getting down there late in the game. Certainly margin was a little bit larger at that point, but just not coming away with more points late in the game down when we got in the red zone. We were better on third down. We did move the football well, but it's always about points, and for different reasons we didn't score enough points. So I think it goes back to all those same things again this week. We got to move the football. We got to be productive on first and second down, running it, throwing it. Got to protect the football. Got to be good on third down, and then got to finish in the red zone. And that's a formula that doesn't change much from week to week. That's what you need to do in this league to win. But it's going to certainly apply again Monday night.
Do you? Is there a balance for you to being too tough on yourself or giving yourself grace when you need it, or how do you balance, a fair critique and, moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's something you're always trying to find a balance with. I think you can, give yourself too much grace and you need to go back and fix something. On the other hand, you can be hard on yourself and you need to just go back out and just put a smile on your face and enjoy competing and let it fly and let the chips fall where they may. It's something you're kind of always trying to go back and forth between, but understand that if you are, being analytical and evaluating it, that you'll kind of stay right in the middle in a good place, and that's kind of what I try to do. So much of it too is just loving the guys you're playing with and trusting them too. We got great people around me in the huddle and at the line of scrimmage that I just kind of always say I got to just trust them and know that I'm in it with them, and that takes some of the pressure off too.
You talked to us earlier in the year about that kind of balance, how sometimes you're too hard on yourself and your wife tells you to cut it out. Yeah. And sometimes, you can mark yours to the other side. Is that something that has been an issue over the last few weeks, would you say? Have you been pressing a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, I think again, because I kind of try to say, okay, what's taking place, and you try to look at it, and I don't have a great single answer. I think at times I wonder if I'm trying to go make the play, and make it happen instead of letting it happen, certainly. So there's that. And then I think, I think the times it's just fundamental. Say late in the down, can you tuck it and run? Can you throw it away? I mean, these are not new quarterback fundamentals, but they're ones that I could afford to apply better the last few weeks and moving forward. So those are a couple thoughts.
Ricky was saying how pretty much from now on it's like must-win games,
yeah,
especially in regards to the playoffs. So
yes.
How do you kind of manage those expectations when you're also trying to end a losing streak?
Yeah. Well, it's always one game at a time, so you understand what's at stake down the road, but you don't really go there. You just kind of focus on this week and today's practice and being the best you can today. But I think for many weeks now we've operated with a, hey, glass half full, we're still in first place. We're still in a good spot. And there's also another side to look at it to say, hey, we need to win now, like sense of urgency. Instead of saying we're good, saying like, in a way we're not good. We need to do it now. So you try to again find, that's a balance you try to find of reminding yourself you're okay, but also saying no, we got to go do this, sense of urgency. And I think we find ourselves there again here this week.
I got a weird one if nobody else is jumping in. Is there something in daily life that you're randomly cheap about?
Let me give that some thought here.
Drake was saying he'd take the ads off of Hulu, stuff like that. Is there something?
Yeah, I still watch the ads on all the YouTube and all that. Yes, there's probably a lot in life I'm randomly cheap about. I'm getting better.
Circle back to you.
My accountant many years ago, he had saw like what I had taken down to write off, and he was like, "Boy, going to Wendy's for $4.50. I don't know that we have to keep track of that and write that off. And
How
I said,
recent
yeah,
was
you're
this?
probably right.
How recent was this that you were?
This was a few years back. It's probably 7, 8 years back, but I was still figuring it out. But yeah, I'm getting better. Honestly, though, because of the way I was raised and the way I was in college and things, there's times where I go, yeah, I don't need to worry about that. Like, that's not. And then I kind of am like, man, you kind of forgot where you came from, So it goes both ways, right? Like, you don't want to necessarily be completely cheap, but at the same time, you don't want to ever lose where you came from.
So watching ads on like.
Oh, I watch them, yeah. Some of that's just simplicity. It's just one less account I have to keep or one less thing I have to pay a subscription for. But I'm probably cheaper than I need to be for the most part. And then I'm probably really stupid in some area where I just go spend money and it makes no sense. And it's like, if you had just been cheaper there and not as cheap there, it would all balance out. But, yeah, I'm sure we're all like that.
Speaking of where you came from one PK to another, Jake Bates has said that you helped to inspire him to use his platform to talk about faith. John earlier was in here and he was talking about how he and you are locked in on God. What inspired you to use this platform to talk about matters of faith?
Yeah, I think, we all have a platform. We all just try to steward it the best we can. And, I just want to be able to give a reason that people ask for the hope that I have and the difference it makes in my life and shine a light. And, and certainly when you have microphones and you are in the platform we have, it's just a little different, it's a little unique. And so I just try to be authentic. And I always said to my, family and things that, like, success on the football field is certainly winning and losing. But I said, if someday I won a bunch of games, but when I'm retired, teammates say the person that people think he is not who he really was. We know a different person. I failed. And opposite may also be true, that if, we didn't have the success I had hoped and dreamed of having, but people say that guy was the real deal, he walked the walk, then I would define that as success. I would certainly define that as success for my boys. So I think that's something that's also very important to me. I try to be aware of as I walk through the building and as I treat people, is just, understanding that wins and losses are certainly extremely important, but, how you made people feel, how you treated them is equally as important. And so that's a big part of it.
A little bit of a hard shift here, but
We're all over the
it's hard to
map.
not go off of that. It's very nice. I know the league sent out, and I know it's just about the break-ins that have been happening.
Yeah.
Especially, so just kind of what are your thoughts on that? And are you taking any extra steps?
Yeah, I would have been a sitting duck in Minnesota. We were just on a normal cul-de-sac, just out there for everybody to come hunt us down. So that would have been interesting. I don't know what I would have done, but a little bit better setup here. I'm sure if someone wants to, they can break the law. But yeah, it is what it is, and I think the key is just your loved ones. And I played in Washington, and what happened to Sean Taylor is a very real thing, and as a Washington player, the story, what happened there with him, and so it's something you just got to be aware of and be careful of.
You're very process oriented. With the current streak, do you ever debate like changing things
Yeah.
up?
Yeah, you do. You certainly have a process that's worked and has enabled you to play well, and so you trust it. I think you'd be foolish, though, to just blindly stick to something, even when, hey, there's clearly a fundamental we need to improve on here. So it's both. It's not you completely blow up your process, but at the same time you say, hey, clearly there's something here in my decision making or my fundamentals or the way I'm seeing the field or the way I'm playing the game that needs to be improved or tweaked. So let's also look at doing that. So I think it's both, and that's why you have T.J. Yates and D.J. Williams and Zach Robinson to help you on that journey, on that process. And that's where I always say kind of the quarterback room is like a working force together, because you're saying to Michael and to Nate, what do you see? What do you think? So we're all kind of pulling together, trying to, lend perspective.
Is there anything this week that you're looking to change with the process and whatnot, like something you're focusing in on?
Yeah, I think there are things. I don't think, for the nature of trying not to tell the Raiders something, I kind of will keep it close to the vest. But, yeah, certainly there are things that you want to emphasize more or be more aware of.
And then something as simple as, like, I know baseball guys are super oriented. Like, they have their routines. So, like, when you feel like you're kind of going through a little bit of a slump, do you feel like you have to change something as simple as just, like, something in your routine?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I know the feeling. Like, you have your way of doing things, and then you suddenly have a losing streak, and you say, all right, let's change it up. And I think that happens. I think that's natural. Just to try to get a fresh start. So not so much superstitious as just a fresh start, or feeling like you can get onto a new routine. And I don't know. There's some of that maybe, but not much.
And I feel like it's natural when you're on a losing streak to maybe lose confidence or, just take a hit to your confidence. No one likes losing. It's a terrible thing. In your experience, how have you kind of, everything, you always hear like, you can't let the highs be too high and the lows be too low. How do you allow that to happen?
Yeah.
How do you not get too low on yourself?
Yeah, I think, it's never easy. I think the joy of playing, you try to always have that, and it's much harder to have that when the wind's not at your back. And so I think that's something you just got to be aware of is, hey, am I still coming into work and on the practice field having a joy and a peace about playing the game, which was easy to have when you're winning. It's much harder to find it naturally when you're losing. Can we still have that? Do we still have that? And I think when you enjoy who you come to work with, you love your teammates, you're focused on your teammates and not on yourself, I think that naturally helps you have joy and have a peace and be a servant. So sometimes when your focus goes inward, that's where you can get to a place you don't want to be. And so you got to kind of keep your focus on those around you and less on yourself. And I think you naturally end up being in a better place then.
How do you feel the offense in general perform pass protecting, especially going up against that Brian Flores defense? And,
Yeah.
And how much does that help?
Yeah.
Going up against a Raiders team that's going to be aggressive probably.
Right. Yeah. No, they are aggressive. They play fast, and they do put a lot on you. But I thought we ran the football really well, especially when you think about what the Vikings have been doing against the run for much of the season. That was a huge positive. I thought they did protect well also. And when you move the football, that's a good sign. When you're moving the football, when you're 50% on third down, those are good indications that you're doing something right. But we've talked about the things that needed to be done better to be able to come away with a win.
Anything else?
All righty. Thank you.
All right, thanks.